tonight, two individuals are in police custody in connection with a fatal shooting in Soufrière over the weekend. The leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party puts the UWP on notice about planned corruption investigation. And St. Lucia records the best August ever with its 7th record-breaking tourism month in the past 8 months. We have the details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Monday, the 14th of October, 2019. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We're on Flow, channel 117, also being simulcast on Kiss FM. You can also watch on our website. It's www.caribbeanhottv.com or watch on our free Caribbean Hot FM mobile app. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. The scenic volcanic town of Soufrière erupted in violence over the weekend. Dead is 19-year-old Shalom Leon, who was fatally shot during the incident. Two individuals are in police custody in relation to the fatal shooting. Police Press Relations Officer Corporal Ann Joseph says Soufrière police received a call about a disturbance on Bridge Street at about 12:05 a.m. on Saturday.
On arrival, officers noted that two individuals sustained gunshot injuries and they were both conveyed to the St. Jude Hospital via ambulance. Both were deemed to be in critical condition. 19-year-old Shalom Cyril of Forbenier in Soufrière succumbed due to his injuries, and a second male is admitted and he is deemed to be in stable condition. A third male, who was treated for stab wounds, has since been discharged. Currently, two individuals are in police custody in relation to this incident.
Police are appealing for anyone with information regarding this incident to contact the nearest police station or the crime hotline at 45-CRIME, that's 452-7463. As is protocol in hostile situations, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force had to give the all-clear before the fire service was able to enter the crime scene at Soufrière. Divisional Officer of the St. Lucia Fire Service, David Antoine, says upon noticing the length of time taken before emergency services could arrive on the scene at Bridge Street, civilians put their own lives at risk in order to assist the victims of the shooting.
Naturally, it would have taken some time even before we could have responded to that incident. And again, persons on the scene noticing that we had not responded because there was an active shooter on the loose. They attempted to have transported these persons to the Soufrière hospital, although the scene was not safe at the time, but they did take the risk and do that. But after they had been transported to the Soufrière hospital, the doctors, or we received a call from that institution asking us to intervene. There we did respond and transported those individuals to the St. Jude's Hospital. And for many reasons, you may look at the extent of the injuries and all of that, and whether or not the Soufrière Hospital has the capacity to deal with that. So subsequently, those persons were transported to the St. Jude's Hospital. I think there was one who may have suffered extensive injuries, and he was subsequently pronounced dead by a medical practitioner on arrival at the St. Jude's Hospital. The other one was treated for a bullet wound to the arm, and he is now in stable condition at the St. Jude's Hospital.
Meanwhile, the fire service was under pressure with 80 ambulance calls over the weekend. 72 were medical emergencies. The nature of the incidents ranged from 6 motor vehicular accidents, 4 physical assaults, and 1 shooting.
On Sunday, October 13th, at approximately 12:38 a.m., fire officers from the Soufrière fire station responded to a shooting incident on Bridge Street, Soufrière. The casualties of that incident were transported to the Soufrière hospital by private means. Subsequently, those individuals were transported to the St. Jude's Hospital via ambulance.
That was Divisional Officer of the St. Lucia Fire Service, David Antoine. The latest performance report for St. Lucia is in, and the record-breaking streak in visitor arrivals to the acclaimed destination continues. According to the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, SLTA, the island can now boast that 7 out of the 8 months thus far have recorded unprecedented growth in visitor arrivals. Canada and France are the only 2 markets to be trending downwards, however, with both markets dropping less than 5% below the figure recorded for the 8-month period last year. A total of 36,342 stay-over arrivals were recorded in August 2019, marking the largest number of arrivals ever recorded for that particular month. Double-digit increases were recorded in 3 main markets: the US, the UK, and Canada, resulting in an overall increase of 6.4% from the figures recorded in August 2018. Tourism Minister Dominic Fede says this sustained growth trajectory is a clear indication that carefully crafted and well-targeted programs, policies, and signature entertainment events are resonating and are gaining traction with consumers in the region and international marketplace. In other news, although the functionality of the Red Cross now extends to various aspects of need and disaster, the head of the Americas delegation of the International Federation of Red Cross says the organization still remains true to its original purpose of assisting people in war-torn countries. He says it is of utmost importance that the Red Cross remains neutral in these areas, but acknowledges the vulnerability of member states to political infiltration. Jacques Wooding tells us more.
According to the head of the Americas delegation of International Federation of Red Cross, Giuseppe Renda, the work of the Red Cross heavily depends on its ability to remain transparent and without political bias. He explains that it becomes increasingly difficult to provide aid in member states without being accused of political affiliations. Renda says the possibility of political infiltration remains a high concern for the Red Cross Committee.
We are fragile, we are vulnerable, also because we don't have weapons. Our weapon is this. Our protection is this. If I cross, my colleague has experience in Lebanon, we all have experience in very difficult contexts where the only thing that helps you is the emblem and the fact that people respect this. Maybe we are a bit naive. Maybe we want to save the world, but we don't take party to a conflict. We just want to do the right thing for the people affected by the conflict.
Renda says this is a risk that the Red Cross is well aware of. He says in times of political turmoil, it is a major challenge to provide assistance to persons aligned to various political parties. Individuals have been known to refuse treatment because they were under the belief that personnel were affiliated with a political body that they were opposed to.
The risk is there of manipulation, and we have to struggle every day. Sometimes we have to shut up. We would like to say much more, but we have to know to control ourselves, because our aim at the end is to be able to access and assist the people that are affected by a conflict or a situation of violence. Much more than the natural disaster. When there is a natural disaster, we are all together. It's the common enemy, the natural disaster. But when you have a conflict, when you have a situation of violence, immediately you have political division, you have parties, and the first victim when there is a war or violence is the truth.
He says neutrality is seen as a tool which allows the Red Cross to access persons in need.
You know, neutrality in reality for us is a tool, is not an objective. We don't want to be neutral because we want that people say that we are not taking part. The fact that we are perceived as neutral is because this is a tool for reaching the people we want to help. I give you an example. In Afghanistan, there were different parties fighting each other, and nobody trusts the other in order to stop the fighting and rescue the injured people. But both parties trusted the ICRC as a neutral intermediary that was intervening, rescuing the people injured, just taking into account the urgency of the situation.
Renda says despite obvious risk factors, The Red Cross does have measures in place to detect and terminate political agendas within its operations. He says the work of the Red Cross remains relevant given stronger natural disasters and political turmoil in various parts of the world. He says personnel will not be deterred from providing assistance. For Hot 7 News, I am Jacques Wooding.
Thank you, Jacques. Opposition leader Philip J. Pierre has put the nation and the government on notice that an SLP administration, once elected into power, will launch a probe into corruption under the current administration. Speaking at the SLP's Conference of Delegates at the John Odlum Secondary School, Philip J. Pierre said, quote, "Tonight, with you as my witness, I am putting on notice all these politicians and their collaborators who have stolen monies of the people. When we get into government, we will immediately commission a forensic review of all questionable transactions that the UWP government undertook," end quote. He proclaimed that no minister will be above the law, adding that he will not stand for corruption. He stated as Prime Minister, he will have a zero tolerance towards corruption. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, on the heels of the Botham Jean murder, the family's attorney, Lee Merritt, is representing the family of another woman shot in her home in Texas. And Hot Pack hits the St. Lucian market. Stay with us, there's more to come.